Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football Saturday afternoon. Another massive commitment for USC in the 2026 classes. Four-star running back Shahn Alston from the state of Ohio committing to USC. Now, I'll start with this as a Michigan fan myself. I love to see USC coming into the state of Ohio and bringing some talent out west, keeping it out of Ohio State. But I think more importantly, you look at this class for USC in 2026, they're off to a great start. And, as we start to dig our teeth into this 2026 class, we'll talk about how this class is coming together. But if you're a USC fan, we've talked about it. Like getting it going on the recruiting trail, maximizing this USC program in terms of what they can be in the talent acquisition department is going to be really important. And you're seeing USC one in 2026 do a really good job in the state of California. And secondly, just doing a good job overall on the recruiting trail. Now, you get into Shahn Alston. This kid I would describe as a box checking running back. You dive into a little bit of the junior year film and say, all right, he ran for over 1,100 yards, averaged nearly 9 yards per carry. At 5'10, 205 pounds, really strong lower half. Deals with contact really well, but also surprisingly has some really nice long speed when he gets to the second level. And that's normally hard to find when you're talking about these running backs that are a little bit shorter and a little bit thicker, so to speak. They're really good in the short area. They're really good dealing with contact. But when they get to that second level, do they have the juice to kind of hit the home run play? That's something that pops to me about Shahn Alston. He runs away from defensive backs. So not only you getting a good running back that I think can really be physical between the tackles, but also a running back that gives you that juice and that explosiveness when you get them sprung to the second level. And it's hard to find running backs that check all those boxes. Now, I think the last thing I like is he attacks the line of scrimmage. Again, that's one of the things I look for the most in terms of running backs translating to the collegiate level. Do you know how to attack the line of scrimmage, or do you waste a lot of time going east and west and dancing around? Look, when you're the best football player on the field at high school, like you can get away with some of those bad practices. I like to see running backs coming out of high school attacking the line of scrimmage, getting downhill. Shahn Alston and me checks that box. Want to get a little bit more into, pull up a little bit of the junior film, but I also want to talk about where USC is going on the recruiting trail in 2026. Before we get into it, as always, to the USC fans, it's going to be a fun offseason. And, this is a very important class for USC in 2026. Y'all know I love talking the recruiting trail, the amount of support the USC fans show all year long as we break down the commitments and talk about this program on the trail. Can't thank you guys enough. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Without further ado, you start with what this class looks like, and we're going to pull it up in just a little bit. You got 8 commitments, top 5 class in the country comfortably. 5 of these 8 commitments are top 150 nationally ranked players. And that is a lot of blue chip prospects you have coming into this program, and 5 of which they're from the state of California as well. And that's something we talk about all the time, and something that I think is really going to determine Lincoln Riley's success at USC. The first couple of years just not doing a good enough job in the state of California. You're bringing Coach Savage to coach the tight ends and inside wide receivers. I think that's a money hire to recruit California better. If Lincoln Riley brings this USC program back to where they belong, back to where we think they can be, it's going to be because they're starting to recruit the state of California at a higher clip. Now, getting into Shahn Alston, again, almost 9 yards per carry his junior year, working off of an offseason knee injury. Really impressive stuff. And I think this kid's only getting better going into his senior year as he gets healthy. You pull up some of the junior year film. Again, what kind of strike one? You don't see him get tackled for like the first minute and a half, which is incredible. And you see him check a lot of boxes. You start seeing him in space. One, good feel in terms of, hey, where are my blocks? What's the defense looking like? Hey, can I pick through traffic? Do I have good feel and vision? You certainly see that as well. And then you see, short area quickness, I think is certainly something that pops, right? Some jump cuts, making people miss. And then when it's time to say, hey, green grass, let's go turn it up. He runs away from defensive backs. And again, at 5'9", 205 pounds, you kind of assume he's going to be a little bit more of a bruising kind of running back. That's not the case with Shahn Alston. good vision, getting to the second level, manipulating his blocks. And then again, when it's time, if you're a safety, you take a bad angle. Take a look at 18 here, just not good enough of an angle, and we're going to run right by you. Again, I think he's a running back that checks a lot of those boxes, which it's hard to find at the high school ranks. You talk about kind of running backs on the recruiting trail, natural pass catcher too. I think this is worth noting. Just seems really comfortable catching the ball out of the backfield, which not a lot of running backs can do. You talk about different kind of running backs we see on the high school recruiting trail. It always seems like they just specialize in something. You know what I mean? To me, Shahn Alston, yeah, he can make it happen when he gets to the open field. Again, he is running away from defensive backs. But I think, secondly, I mean, he's a guy that is not a one-trick pony. You know, he's not just a burner. He's not just a bruiser. He's that all-around running back that gives you really good reps. And again, I love to feel. I mean, we're going to attack downhill. We are going to pick through some traffic. We are going to stay on our feet. We are going to deal with contact. And when it's time to turn on the heat, like, he's a blur. He's a blur on the film. That's what you want to see. Box checking running back for USC in this 2026 class. And you take a look at this 2026 class for USC, it's hard not to be really excited about what this class can look like for USC. You start scrolling down and say, hey, one, we're doing a really good job in the state of California. Guys like RJ Sermons, guys like Brandon Lockhart, but more notably, I mean, we're just filling this roster up with blue chip talent. And that's what it needs to look like if USC gets back to that perennial college football playoff caliber team. And I don't think it's been quite good enough for Lincoln Riley so far during his time at USC, most notably not recruiting the state of California well enough. This 2026 class, it's early, and we're going to come out with an episode in terms of the top targets for USC. And as I dig into the 2026 class a little bit more early on, you really like what USC has. Now the challenge for USC is with guys like Xavier Griffin, you know, from the state of Georgia. You know, Georgia, Alabama, Auburn, Florida, they're not going to let that kid go to USC for free. They're going to continue to fight. You look at Shahn Alston from the state of Ohio, like Ohio State, Michigan, they're not going to give up on him either. You got to keep these kids committed until they sign their paperwork, and that certainly is a challenge. It was a challenge in the 2025 class, but we always say it's better to have the commitment than not and play defense. And right now, to start the 2026 class, I think you got to be really excited about where USC is. Now, over the next couple of weeks, we'll start diving into the 2026 class. We'll start talking about some of the top targets for this USC program. But as a start, I think this is about as good of a start as you could have asked for if you're a USC fan. We'll close it out there. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to y'all later.